Can we start with Dundrum? Because you posed a question to the Minister, didn't you? And I was very interested in the answer you got.
Sure, look, I did. I tried a topical issue. A topical debate is where you put down a question to the relevant minister. More often than not, in recent times, in recent years, the ministers of the day disappear and do not be in the chamber and send in a junior minister from some other different department. But really that night I sat for 2 hours because I also had a question to her on the night earlier to taking questions. And just about before the topical started around 20 to 11 at night, she just left the chamber. And I said she's hardly going to go and leave this for herself, so she didn't disappear. I was very cross over that. She just didn't give any excuse, I didn't say. So we got an answer then, the usual answer, like passing the buck. I was appalled that in the lacuna between the responsibilities being transferred to Minister O'Callaghan, that contract was signed. The people of Dundrum and the committee met with the integration team. Twice I convened meetings. There were many other meetings as well, where they laid it bare the fact that there were three current High Court cases. There were numerous other issues, and the fact that in their own documentation, in their own criteria, they cannot change the demographics of any area by more than 5%. And this is a 120% of an increase. So it was shock and anger. The fact also that the council have enforcement proceedings on the building, which are pretty extensive. And the fact that, the heritage group have huge concerns. And this is an unbelievable situation.
But in her reply to you, Mattie, she said, my department carries out due diligence on accommodation being contracted, including checks via the company's registration, and it goes on and on. And also says that offers of accommodation can be made by a property owner or another person who has authority to do so, such as a leaseholder.
I teased this out with the integration team myself numerous times when they said they were dealing with a different person regarding the lease.
Yes.
So we saw what happened. A company was obtained from Spain, a value of €120 placed in that company. It's just pure. Kindergarten children would carry out better due diligence. That's complete. The reply was complete.
But on that, she said the newly established entity, that's what you're referring to, isn't it? That fully met the requirements set out by the department.
Much of there's no requirements. If I can go tomorrow to Spain and buy a shelf company or buy a company and then apply, I mean, look, it's farcical. They stopped trading or dealing with the owners. There was complications there, slight complications there only. It was in receivership, straightforward. They were dealing with the receiver. Two people applied, as I said, two persons applied for a Section 5. And next thing, the department decided to discontinue. Here, there's a multiplicity of problems with ownership, as I said, with legal title, with the funders in America, the winning family, who I have a relationship with, the whole situation regarding there was no due diligence. Absolutely none. The most basic thing in that document is their own wording, that they do not want to change, they mustn't change the demographics by more than 5%. This is changed by 120%. There's 220 people in Dundrum putting in 277 people. And as I said, they have welcomed the people, Ukrainians there, and they have also looked after them. Many of them are working and are very friendly with them. They have welcomed the first batch that came there and looked after them well, given very special care to the people of Dundrum. Many people at the gates also. But this is just, there's no due diligence, absolutely whatsoever.
There's so much of it I don't understand. Okay, they've granted this, but the Minister is also saying any ongoing matters relating to fire, building or planning regulations remain between the local authority and the provider.
Yes, and they need to be called out too.
Almost as if that's a
separate course. Look, I'm a small business person. Nobody would do business that way. You wouldn't last a month. I mean, it's shocking that public money can be such disrespect for it. And as I said, there are huge issues with fire. The fire officer, I tried to engage with them all last year. They didn't seem, there was an old fire report, they didn't do due diligence. Now the council have finally woken up and have served pretty extensive, enforcement issues. And even I put that to the department since, and they said, oh yeah, but they're dealing with those and whatever. It's just a policy that's doomed to drive wedges between people. And that simply is up and down the country. I mean, we're so lucky in Care at the moment, and yesterday was the last day for appeal to Board Penola. I'm not sure that didn't go in last night late by the company who bought the premises there. I know the owner had the premises. He's a fine kitted out building with 13 apartments. But the Monaghan company that have literally laid waste of towns in Monaghan, I know it pretty well, they bought that and they looked for Section 5. Thankfully, the council, because of the fact that there were 13 apartments there that could units could be given out to people in care, families in care, whether they be Irish or whosoever, people on the housing list. They decided to refuse the Section 5. And I was delighted with that. But they can appeal it. And they hadn't appealed up to close of business last night unless it went in.
What do you make now that Deputy Michael Murphy, Fine Gael, now addressing the Taoiseach in the Dáil on this very issue?
Sure, semantics, but I'm glad. We might deny, in fairness to Deputy Murphy himself, have worked on this since he got in. He knows the depth of anger there. He felt it during the campaign. He was at a public meeting there early in the campaign, and he gave commitments to do this. So the problem is, we're there, but we're whistling Dixie because government. There was a lacuna, I said. There's still a lacuna in so many areas of government that the duties haven't been transposed to the new ministers. Imagine when they're into the summer, and the election was last November, and this is the kind of a snail pace rate the governments are moving here, and it's very dangerous.
Well, has it not moved at this point from integration to justice now?
Yes, the 1st of May, May Day, and this was done hours before May Day, which is shocking. And Minister Foley was running away from me like as if I was, some kind of I don't know what, in the last number of months, because she said, I don't want them to do it. It's on my desk. I'm not touching it. So I fully expected that it would be left to Jim O'Callaghan. Now, Minister O'Callaghan is on the same path. He's evading responsibility. But it's ironic. I have a question back from Jim O'Callaghan now, the Department of Justice, and Minister, and it's the very same gobbledygook. It's the very same. My daughter brought it to my attention yesterday. Exact same jargon, copy and paste. So,
were you surprised that the Taoiseach didn't seem to be across what's happening?
Of course I was, because the Taoiseach told me, remember, shortly after being elected Taoiseach, that this was going to be paused, the whole situation. And the people of Dundrum and many other areas were happy that it was paused. But the Mandarins didn't pause. The Mandarins and the greedy people that want to supply these places, not humanitarian, they didn't pause. All this murky business goes on while the elected government, when you have a Taoiseach expressing surprise, how could he be? I'd raised this more times in the last government. I'm sure the Deputy Cahill had raised it with him and others. So I'm very surprised you're not across this, because this is a burning issue and it's getting worse. And you can see that by the numbers that marched in Dublin. You can see a huge march in Carrickmacross, a town that's completely destroyed. With nobody can get a bed there because they're all taken up. All the properties are bought up. And
should Jim O'Callaghan though be commended that he seems to be taking firmer action on
time will tell
on illegal immigration?
He's not. Jim O'Callaghan is doing what should have been done all the time. These people, and I hate to call them as people, these persons were found not to be suitable or applicants for asylum for whatever reason, and they disappear into the ether. What kind of a banana republic is it? I mean, other countries would have them on a plane that night, and that's what it should be. So Jim O'Callaghan is just maybe say, lads, wake up here a minute, do your job in the department, and the Gardaí haven't the resources. But sure, this is farcical that they go through all the process and then they get the notice to quit, and they look, lads, off you go.